Okay, so welcome back. I think this is I managed to make two videos in one day or 1 week. So today I want to talk about um, media malfeasance and how it pertains to our society, especially after what happened uh, this past week. So we had a kid shoot up another school, as if we didn't all see that coming eventually. And I have to explain this so after Columbine, psychiatrists came forward to the news media and told them very explicitly, do not show the names and faces of these kids who did this, or you're going to create copycat killers. Now, how long ago was Columbine? We're going on 30 years? Almost? Like, I was barely alive for this. So we're going on 30 years that mainstream media has been fully aware that if they plaster the names and faces of mass shooters on their networks, wall-to-wall coverage, it creates more and more copycat killers. And for some reason, I'm not going to speculate. Actually, I will. For reasons such as viewership, marketability, advertisement, income, all of those things, mainstream media has knowingly created more copycat killers with the way that they cover news. Now, I see a lot of independent media who were unaware of this earlier on, but now that they have also found out, plastering names and faces all over your network is going to create new copycat killers, and it's because it comes off as glorification and immortalization, and those are two things that mass shooters are starving for. But these independent sources that had more recently found out that that's what happens have stopped putting the names and faces of mass shooters in their publications. One that comes to mind explicitly is the Daily Wire. I think 2 or 3 years ago, they made the decision that they were no longer going to show the names and faces of mass shooters. But yeah, the mainstream media doesn't care. They by and large don't care. I saw one segment from NBC yesterday talking about the parents being charged, where they managed not to say the actual shooter's name in a full 3-minute clip, which that is astounding to me. But all those minutes outside of those 3 minutes are creating these copycat killers. And at a certain point, because we know that they know what they're doing. Like, all of these major psychiatric societies have very publicly said, we've gone to the media and told them to stop doing this or they're going to create more. And they refuse to stop. And they keep creating more copycats. And this almost came to a head in South Carolina on Friday, where mainstream news, have been doing wall-to-wall coverage of the shooter, putting his name everywhere, putting his face everywhere. And we had a threat called into a high school here in South Carolina. At what point do we actually address this? Now, I understand this is like very murky water when you get into libertarian circles, but I'm not an ANCAP. I do believe in minarchy, because this is potentially one of those situations where some form of public redress is going to have to happen. At what point do we say you're no longer allowed to put out information in a way? So you can still put out the information, you just leave out the name and the picture. you're no longer allowed to put these two elements into your publications that guarantee a copycat because you want to increase your network's income. I feel like we're already past the point where we can actually redress this in public and it not be a violation of free speech. Because you're allowed to have free speech until your speech is directly leading to people being killed. And that's what's happening here, is mainstream media is publishing information they know that they should not publish because they know it will create the next mass shooter for them to do 24/7 coverage on and keep people peeled in on the news. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I guess that's the question, because I know what I think. But what do you think? Is there a point at which we tell mainstream media that the method they are using to deliver information that is proven to be hazardous is no longer acceptable, and they have to do it in a way that's not going to create not only the next killer but also a funnel for income? And when, as a society, and I'm talking beyond, the public redress and telling them how to cover it, when are we as a society going to tell these networks that they can shove off? Because for 30 years, think about that. If you're like me, I'm 31. Every shooting in your life, almost, except maybe the very, very early pre-Columbine shootings, almost every shooting since Columbine was inspired by the way that mainstream media was covering the previous shooting. And none of them have ever been held accountable for it. Not one. Never held accountable for it. Even though they know that's what's happening. So yeah, tell me what y'all think. I'm actually kind of livid about this, because this came into my backyard now. I'm a South Carolinian. I'm furious that the way that this is being covered almost led to South Carolinian blood being spilled just so CNN can gain an extra 10,000 people of viewership on Don Lemon's show as he's glorifying this kid with image while just verbally denouncing him. Difficult times. Anyway, until next time, be free. Tomorrow, Nolo.